I'm smoking pot, I got my dick out, and I'm thinking about you, and I'm thinking about you. I'm smoking pot, I got my dick out, and I'm thinking about you, just you.
I got my dick out, and I'm thinking about you, thinking about you.
I'm driving along, I'm singing a song, and I got my dick out, and I'm thinking about you, I drank a six-pack, I took my pants off, I love you, I love you,
I'm smoking pot.
There you go. This is killing me. I'm going to tell you why it's killing me, because look at tonight's show. Tadpoles of love. I love it. Gobs of fun. By the way, that idea of this show wasn't written by me, but from the madman himself, Jackie the Joke Man, Martling. That's a very funny. All this jizz. All that jizz. I love it. Hey, folks, welcome. It's the 8 o'clock hour on November 9th, 2020. And my name is John Peasy. Welcome to Stump The Joke Men, which we haven't had many people coming in to stump us, but we hope maybe tonight to get some. My name is John, and we're going to bring on our friend Jackie with our all-new show. And tonight's show, close your ears if you have children or women that is jizz jokes can't be that clean. We're probably going to get thrown off of YouTube. We're streaming live right now to Facebook and YouTube, but welcome. I see we're getting a ton of people coming in already. Look at that. We got a dozen people right there. So let me bring on the man of the hour, the man with a brain that's really deeply disturbed, apparently, to come up with just jokes. And here he is, Jackie the Joke Man Martling. Come on in, Jackie.
I will tell you what, if people are starting to come in and they're still coming in, I'm going to wait 2 seconds before we start the jokes. So I got some great ones. But I told you I got a deal for a new book.
Tell me. I didn't hear all the details.
What happened was, the way I wound up writing jokes for Rodney was I sent him jokes blindly because a friend lied to me. Richie Minervini lied to me and said he knew him. And I'd already written them up, so I just mailed them to him. And then I heard about this guy in NBC, Howard Stern, and I sent stuff to him. And there was this other guy in France, Gershon Legman, and I sent stuff to him. Who cares? You got nothing to lose. And there was this great book called The Box that's the story of the invention of television and the development of early TV, which is fascinating. And I used to have a lot of copies of it. And I used to give them out to people when I was rich. And now there was somebody I wanted to give a copy to. And I said, I'd rather give them a digital copy. And it wasn't available digitally. And I went and it's on a different website. If Amazon doesn't sell something, they really don't want you to be able to get it. It's kind of weird. I had to go through hoops to find out where this was. I went to the actual author and bought a copy of it for myself. And then I wanted to send one to somebody, and I said, hey, there's no place on your website that says where I can pay my money and send a copy to John Peasy. He said, oh, yeah, I really got to get that up there. And then I wanted to send another one. And I wrote to him again and said, because the guy just sent me the link specifically for me. And about the third time, I said to you, as long as I'm friends with this guy now, this Reanimus Press, I said, listen, when I wrote my book, I had enough for a second book. And I don't want to print it, but I'd love to release it digitally. You want to go for it? And he said, sure. So it's like just another one of those. If you don't
Weird
ask, you
things.
don't get. So.
And
like,
you just said hey, and then he said yes.
Yep. And he said, yeah, I can have pictures. I can make it as long as I want, as short as I want. I can add to it.
Can you ask
It's
Melania
beautiful.
for a BJ? Well, okay, he means they'll go for the gold. Hey, that's awesome. So what is the next? I guess you don't have the title yet, but
Well, I kind of do.
okay.
A friend of mine, Frankie No Clothes. This guy I grew up with, Frankie Bear. We called him Frankie No Clothes.
Okay.
I told him something that happened on the show years ago, and I said, I'm thinking that's what I'm going to name my book. And he said, you have to. And I actually wrote the foreword, and that was going to be it. When I first started working on this book like 25 years ago. And then I didn't name it. I said, listen, if I ever do a second round, this will be it. What happened was we were on the air one day, and Robin Quivers had just written her book called Quivers, A Life.
I remember you reading it like, oh, my name is so and so.
Oh, so great. So a caller, we're on the air, and the call called and said, well, Howard, you wrote 2 books, and now Robin wrote a book. When's Jackie going to write a book? He said, Jackie, he's got nothing to say. Nobody cares. What's he going to, he's boring. Nobody cares about what he's got to say. He said, we'll be right back. And as he went to commercial, he was pulling down his microphone. He turned to me and he said, if you ever write a book, you're fired. So that's the name of the book.
That nobody knows, because I remember hearing him say that you should never. He's got nothing to say, but it's interesting.
Yeah, I got nothing to say. What I do have to say is that I write jokes for Howard. That's what I did have to say.
Right. So now let me understand something. Though this book is this going to be like a tell-all kind of a book?
No, it's the same exact book. When I wrote my book, I had enough for 2 books, so it's basically the same exact stuff, only different. In other words, this story, but not this story. Like I had the story of Nutrisystem, but not of the, like the whole story of the making of Private Parts, and a couple of poop stories and some great Rodney Dangerfield stories.
Right.
I got a whole nother book. It's already written. I just, I'll probably add to it and fool around with it a little bit, but
and
it's really good stuff. Anytime somebody writes to me and says, oh man, I really enjoyed your book, I send them the whole second book. I send them all the chapters.
It's all good.
Like they freak out. They're like, "Wow, I got nothing to lose."
Why not enjoy yourself? Now you said when you used to be rich, you're still rich. You're rich in health and jokes and happiness. It's all good. It's all
health. Jesus, yeah,
health is
Johnny.
everything.
Health is everything, Johnny.
This is the point. I know this is the point. I'm actually going for a doctor tomorrow. I'm just going to get a checkup tomorrow. I can't stand, you make one doctor say, hey, this hurts, that hurts. The old jokers don't do that. And honestly, now they're like, when something hurts, they're like, oh, well, let's send you for a scan. Let's get you for this. Let's get your blood. Next thing you know, you got 12 doctor's appointments because
I know.
It's ridiculous.
But then the one thing I get things on my face or on my body. But I live on the water, and I'm always swimming. I'm always in the sun. And I'm like, you know what? I'd hate after all this to go out from sun poisoning or whatever you call it.
Yeah, but that's the best thing to do. Even with the COVID going around now, they say that like the best thing is vitamin D. And you're out there every day. I was out there. I did a 2-mile, not a run, but a quick walk. And I got a little sun. It was great.
I haven't been out walking in a while. I mean, I just quit swimming maybe 2 weeks ago. But
now, what do you do in the winter? What do you do for the winter to keep yourself, even though we're not doing jizz jokes yet?
I walk. When I first got off the Stern Show, I had so much time. I walked so far on the beach every day and collected lobster floats. And I mean, I walked miles and miles and miles and it was so great. I was in such good shape for so long. And that's the downside of having a great girlfriend. I mean, Barbara's a great cook. We have so much fun, and
carbs, lots of carbs over there.
So, all right. So it's the end of the workday.
Sure.
And 3 girls get on the elevator, and there's a big wad of sperm on the wall, and they all see it. And the first girl says, "Nobody in my company would have done that." The second girl says, "Nobody in my company would have done that." And the third girl runs her fingers through the cum and tastes it. And she says, "He's not even from this building."
I like it. It's a good
joke. So 3 guys are bragging about who has the best memory.
Okay.
First guy says, I got such a memory. He says, I remember when I was born.
Wow.
Second guy says, you think that's something? I remember being in the womb. And third guy says, yeah. I remember going to a party with my father and coming home with my mother.
That's good. I think the first one, it doesn't taste like, is even funnier. I think it's even stronger of a joke.
Even stronger.
I was thinking about this today. You know, what about Jizz Lane Maxwell? Just thinking.
I know.
I was trying to put a joke together with that.
It's just too. It's too. You know, Ghislaine fucks well.
Yeah,
It's like
it's too easy.
Yeah,
right?
I can't believe she's still alive. You know, I mean,
Yeah,
she's.
matter of time. Matter of time. You know. One of these things I was thinking about.
It'd be
these
ironic if she was well hung.
Hey, what happened with the you took it all off? You were turning into Gabriel.
We're working on the documentary, and we needed to add a quick passage because we wanted to address why nobody from the Stern Show is in the documentary. And Ian said, I really think you should shave your beard. And I said, what are we going to try and sandwich it in like it was going to be in earlier? He said, no. He says, but you look so different with the beard. And when people are concentrating and enjoying this documentary, and all of a sudden we go to something that you need to address, we don't want to lose them for even a quarter of a second going, wait a minute, is that
the
Jackie?
transitioning? Okay.
As a comedian, if you're in the middle of a joke and somebody drops a glass and people look and come back, the moment is lost, so you don't want anybody going outside the
ping pong. It's ping pong. Right. It's always ping pong. You never want to miss that one ball because
you don't want them outside the frame. So I said, what the hell? And then the other day I was on the way home and I said, well, who needs all that hair? So I got the hair cut off and
you look young. Now you look younger before you start looking professore,
No, now I'm Joe Biden now.
Yeah, now you look you look like Biden. You got that. You put that suit and tie on you over there, and you play that game. Maybe you'll get hired. Matter of fact, there's probably more money to go online as Biden and do cameo spots.
Come on, man.
Speaking of Jizz joke, it's CUM. Come on, man.
Come on, man. Go ahead. You got one?
I got a million of them. I discovered that there were some women in the world who really don't like jizz on their breasts. For example, these two women I was sitting on the bus with their kids today.
That's so disgusting. That's so horrible. That's so horrible.
It's horrible, but good. Look, somebody said we have matching necks.
I don't think he meant it as a compliment.
No, I don't think so, but I can take.
I know you know this joke, but just in case somebody out there doesn't, because this is the best one.
And by the way, I was thinking about jizz jokes, and I said to myself, I know Jackie's going to tell the joke about the two gay guys. Is that where you're going?
No.
Okay, good. All right.
So a girl goes to the high school prom, and the next day she sends her mother a text. Mom, the prom was great, but now we're at the beach, Mom, and I'm freaking out. I got cum in my hair.
Okay.
And her mother sends her back a text. Honey, I'm glad the prom was good. Listen, sometimes when you're blowing a guy and he wants to shoot all over your face, when they pull it out of your mouth, they can't really control where it's going to go. And sometimes some of it goes in your hair, but it's not a big deal. Just jump in the water. It'll wash right out. And the girl sends her mother back a text. Mom, thanks for the information, but I meant to type gum. That is such a great joke.
Look, but don't see.
Look, well,
I like it. I didn't know that joke. I didn't.
Really?
I don't know
that's the greatest. And it makes it sound like I'm from this century.
A little bit, because you got the texting involved.
John,
right?
My friend Ed, I'm finding out that these old VHS tapes that I got that are everywhere here are still valid. They still work.
They work. I have Betamaxes that work, believe it or not.
And I told you this already, and I gave him an old tape, and he came back, and I have a show from June 1986 at Mr. Rips.
Mr. Rips in Village, Cottage,
and
New York. Yeah.
I got to send it to you. Same jokes as the one.
But are you happy with it when you look at yourself back in those days?
I'm sitting there, John, laughing, listening to the jokes. At that point, I'd already been telling the jokes for 20 years, and this is 35 years ago. I'm laughing at them, and I'm doing much. I don't really do crowd work anymore, but I'm doing a little bit of crowd work and farting around and having so much fun. And it was in the old days, so long ago, that's when the stage at Mr. Rips was on the other side, and
You walked in to the right.
Jeff Zabrowski's 8x10 is on the wall. That's how old.
It's a long time ago, boy.
Well, Kelly Rogers and who else? Tommy Koenig. I mean, it's like a who's who, and it's funny, you know. And I'm just being my obnoxious self, but I'm telling those same old. They're great jokes. They're fun jokes. You know?
I would love to see that videotape. But when you look at yourself from the past a long time ago and you still laugh at the jokes and stuff, you don't look at yourself and judge. You're like, oh, I was young, or I wish I did this, or I wish I did that. You don't look at it that way.
You know what? I was already kind of set in stone. Like I played around from 79 until like 85, like a little bit of comedy and jokes, and I tried to, do jokes like kind of like Rodney, like, oh, my father did this and my family did this. And then I said, you know what, it's not me, because it's, I'm trying to create an alternate universe. And the way I work is every joke is an alternate universe. I don't know if I told you, I did a show at the Friars. I told you that. And Jerry Stiller said, you're very interesting. Each joke is like a small one-act play. And I was like, wow, I never heard it put like that. But, they're very defined characters, and there's a beginning and an ending, and,
You're right. It's little mini vignettes. That's very true. See, I don't have the same take, but last night somebody bought a DVD off my website, which, by the way, I'm not bragging, because I haven't sold one of those in quite a while. People don't buy DVDs right now. They're buying links. They download links, stream.
Right.
So anyway, I was like, look, I don't even know where they are anymore. I'm like looking around for a DVD. It was called John Peasy and Andy in the Bronx, DA Bronx.
Right.
And I'm looking, and so I went and I looked at it, I found one, and I copied it and sent it out to the guy. And I looked at the material, and I looked at I just hate myself. I look at it. Yes, it's funny. Yeah, the people are having a great, matter of fact, it was me and Richie Ramirez in the Bronx.
Wow.
Yeah, he passed away. He was a great guy. And it was a Latino club, which is the greatest audience.
Who's doing his jokes?
Any Spanish guy. And but I look at it, I hate myself. I look at it, it's like, oh, I was too overweight. I was like, look at the way I stand. Oh, I moved my lips when I said that. I just ripped the shit out of myself every time.
It is very weird, because I know that if I'm in a movie, any movie I'm in for a second. And if I sit there and I know my 2 seconds is coming up, I get all rattled and weird, almost like a woman hides herself when the scary part of a horror movie comes on.
Hey, there's a question here from Jimmy Francis. He says, hey, Jackie, do you still have the jetty?
Sandy, the storm, took the jetty. The storm destroyed the jetty, and then she was finished. She washed ashore all battered up and screwed up. And I'm like, what am I going to do with this thing? And then we had another storm like 2 weeks later, and she's gone forever. The only thing left is the ladder. The ladder is out in the back that me and my cousin made. That's sitting there, and it's very sad. But if you're a fan of the jetty, you can actually go on YouTube, and if you Google launching of the jetty, Jackie's jetty, Martling jetty, there's like an hour video of the jetty being delivered to my house, and all of us, not Howard and Robin, but everybody else, we all loaded into the water, and you see us cooking lobsters. And and it's funny, because you'd think there'd be a zillion hits from people from the Stern Show, and not that many people have seen it, but people freak out because
I watched it years ago.
Bold color, the lobsters and the whole thing. And
speaking of which, I have a picture here, a bunch of lobsters. Is this what? Let me ask you this picture I have.
That would be from that day.
It would be. All right.
I
I'm
sent you
looking-
is this when I sent you a bunch of pictures today?
Yeah, and I'm looking for the lot. Here it is. It says Many Lobster Party on the name of the picture.
Well, that could have been. I did a bunch, like when we had Robin's birthday party, when we had Fred's birthday party on the 4th of July, the launching of the jetty, the bringing in the. I would buy 200 lobsters, and we'd have the craziest party. And then on Monday, Howard would tell everybody what a cheapskate I was.
By the way, what is this picture that you have here, Jake? What is this?
I don't know. You were a fan of the show, right?
I don't know what that was.
That's Timmy the cat.
Oh, by the way, it's great looking.
That's the big laugh, was that Timmy got destroyed by a car. That's the funniest thing Howard
That's
ever
the
heard.
cat. Yeah.
I don't know how he works his way around that with his fucking wife nowadays. That they laugh for 3 years at the fact that, somebody came to babysit my house while me and Nancy were on vacation, and she accidentally left the door open, and the cat ran out the door and got hit by a car. And so the fun thing for the listeners to do was to call up and say, "Jackie killed his cat. Jackie killed his cat."
Oh God.
Which
It's
it's horrible enough, but poor Nancy. I love the cat too, but not the way a woman does.
Not the first pussy to get banged in a car. Speaking of what I think of pussy in a car,
Who is this?
I don't know who that is. I have no idea.
You're
It's a
supposed
gift.
to show pictures of people you know.
Okay, I know two of these people. I don't know. Well, it was Jizz night, so I figured I'd throw these in. Speaking of Jizz, I had an Arabian friend who told me that camels were notorious for spitting. I said, "Ha!" And all this time, I thought it's because your jizz tasted bad.
The fact is that camels are part Jewish girl.
Oh, okay. Spit it out.
Wow. What is it? Why don't Jewish girls swallow?
Why don't they swallow?
They want to be the spitting images of their mothers. That's one of the few jokes in the world I actually wrote.
Now, I heard you tell that joke many times. I actually thought tonight that you were going to definitely, a bunch of people saying hello. Robert Benson, Timmy, he's going, oh, Timmy. Oh, another one, Jimmy Francis. Oh, fuck Timmy. All right.
See, they think that's so funny to everybody.
Yeah, people remember that. So they do remember. Interestingly enough, too, because I was a big fan when we watched the show years ago, too. But now I look back and I think, and as you pull these things out, your brain, there's certain things you really remember really in depth in your head, and other things you don't. I don't know what flows around in your head. You seem to have a really good memory of everything.
2 gay guys are in the shower.
That's not the one I was thinking of, but go ahead.
The phone rings, and the first guy says, "I'll get it. I'll answer the phone. But don't you come. Don't you come." And he answers the phone. He comes back, and there's sperm all over the floor and all over the walls. He says, "I told you not to come." He says, "I didn't come. I farted."
That is the joke that I thought you were going to tell. That is.
I thought it was.
You went into the shower. You took it in the shower. I thought it was all over the living room, the floor, the carpet, the floor. Okay, that's good. I like it. Look what we have here, Brad Wells. I love Jackie.
Faggot.
Speaking of which, let me ask you another question about.
You know about the nun who comes home and the other nun is doing cartwheels and handstands in the living room in front of the picture window, and the first nun says, "What are you doing? The window's open. If this leaks out, we'll be ruined." And the other nun says, "Well, if it doesn't leak out, we'll really be ruined."
I love it. You do have a good memory, though. You're like, even in the moment, you just come up and you remember things. I don't have that good of a memory like that. That's really wonderful. Hey, I was looking at some more of these pictures here tonight, and this one it says Jane B. And by the way, she seems a little cracked.
That's from the high school yearbook photo, riding in your wallet for most of your life. When I was a junior in high school, a new girl moved into the school, and that's Jane Viscardi. And she was ridiculous. Just the girl, the perfect girl. And 6 weeks later, that was my girlfriend.
Really?
Yeah, she was a year ahead. She graduated, but I was so. She's still a very, very close friend. Years later, like we, when I was in high school, there was no, we weren't banging. We were making out, and not even fingers. I mean, this is like 1965, and she was like a nice girl. It's hard. It's hard to push yourself back into that world. But I circled around and we wound up getting pretty wacky together. But she was just so cool. But I don't know at what point you tuned into the Stern Show. But there was a crazy woman with a bad leg named Celeste, who was a real nut. And she was part of the Whack Pack. She was part of the Whack Pack before we named it the Whack Pack.
The Whack Pack, right? Mm-hmm.
And there was a big party at the U.S. Open Source at Nassau Coliseum when Gary played Howard in tennis. And my old girlfriend, Patty Spizzato, my other girlfriend from high school, her husband ran the Coliseum. He was the stage manager of the Coliseum for like 25 years. John, great guy. And we were sitting there, and after the show, we're sitting having a party underneath the stairs, and Celeste comes over with her bad leg.
Right.
And Patty's there with me, and I say, "Hi, Celeste," and Patty says, "Hi, Celeste." And I'm like, "How do you know Celeste?" She says, "It's Celeste Viscardi." And I'm thinking, probably Jane had a sister named Celeste, and Patty is so stupid that she thinks there's only one Celeste in the world. I said, "Celeste, what's your last name?" And she said, "Celeste Viscardi." And I said, "You're Jane's sister, the love of my life. Her sister was a whack packer." I ran over to Howard and said, "High school, I was madly in love with Celeste's sister. It was the smallest world thing you've ever seen." And Celeste was actually very, very sweet. But that girl Jane was hot stuff, man. I thought I was hot shit, man. That she was all mine. I wouldn't do anything to her, but nobody knew that. Jane, if you're watching down in Jacksonville, hello. No, she's in Myrtle Beach.
But you know what's
cult.
interesting?
She wound up in a cult.
A cult? What do you mean, like
Meyer Baba? You hear Meyer Baba?
Yeah, is that the guy who used to rub his fingers and make the dust or something?
No, that's. No,
Sai Baba.
No. She used to bend spoons with her vagina. No, really? That's somebody else. No, there's a guy named Meyer Baba, and he, from the time he was 29 till the day he died, he never spoke. And some crazy rich woman from Myrtle Beach was a big follower and gave the Meyer Baba cult half of Myrtle Beach.
Get out of here.
And it's still there. It's the Meyer Baba cult. And Jane, I don't know if she still does, but she used to live on that land.
Like a commune.
And they weren't nuts or anything, just an absolutely beautiful, monstrous park. And I never have understood those things at all, but at least everybody wasn't doing Kool-Aid and dying. So I thought that was fine.
Yeah, it's free love. It was coming out of the 60s, right? And I guess that kind of thing.
Which is all right with me.
Hey, Lauren Cook, man, I know Lauren. Jackie, it was a year ago you were at the Algonquin Theater.
January 9th, I returned to the Algonquin Theater. Go to jokeland.com if you want to try and buy tickets. I promised Vinny Vinny was like, "When are you going to promote it?" Dino, when are you going to promote it? I'm like, "Dino, 6 months away, for Christ's sakes." But I guess it's not too late now. Thanks, Lauren.
Yeah, now is the time. And also Michael Tanner is saying, "Hey, Jackie, I'm smoking pot. I got my dick out and I'm thinking about you again." And guess what? He also says, "I sent you a fax."
Very good. Very good. He looks like Jaws.
Isn't that the guy from James Bond with the golden teeth or whatever?
You look like Jaws, Michael.
Jaws. That's his name. I'm sorry. You're right. Jaws.
I sent you a fax as a line from that song.
Yeah.
I had my dick out. I sent you a fax. That's the stupidest song. Everybody loves that song.
Love the song. As a matter of fact, I have it on my player when I'm doing shows, and I played it the other day at like Woodlock Pines. But the and people just
Between-
kind of like they love it.
Yeah, you get into it. It's good.
It's great. It's just great.
good.
I love it. Just love it. I'm looking here, another picture here. What the hell is that? Wait a minute.
That was the greatest when we used to watch West Wing, me and my wife.
Okay.
And when we started watching, it was the second season. And we loved it. And we said, oh, it'd be so great to be able to see the first season. But it was so long ago that, forget, you waited for it to come around. I said to Gary Dell'Abate, I said, do we know anybody at NBC? And he goes, yeah. He says, I've become pretty good friends with George Clooney's personal assistant, Amy Cohen. So I don't know whether I called, wrote. I don't think there was email yet. And I said, this is Jackie from the Stern Show, and we loved West Wing. We love West Wing. Is there any way we could get some of the copies? She sent us the entire first season of West Wing. I think there were like 22 of them. In the old days, there were that many, and it was so great. And then I went out to California. So Amy took me around. There's another picture in there of me sniffing Jennifer Aniston's seat on Central Perk. Yeah, that's from not Party of Five. What was it called? The Friends.
I would have glued my chin to that seat.
So so we walked on the set of VR, which was like a wet dream for me because I was such a big fan. And they were making Perfect Storm, so there's a big pool with the cameras and everything.
Right.
And I never listened to best of, right? And Amy says, come on, you got to come say hello to the girls. And we walked, and we go walking up the steps of a trailer, and I heard myself laughing. Gloria Rubin and Juliana Margulies were in the trailer getting made up, listening to Best of Stern. And I heard my laugh, and I walked in, and I swear to you, John, they were as excited to meet me
as you were to meet
I
them.
was to meet them.
I
don't know if I gave you a picture. Gloria was the black girl.
No, I don't have
Gloria and Juliana, and they were they were so sweet to me, and it was so much fun. They were great. And I got drunk one night with Clooney. I mean, it was storybook time.
Got a text message here from, hi guys, will you be returning to Newton or New Hope, PA next year? Bob.
I know I'm going to New Hope. The guys from the Raz Room, I think they just moved me from March to like May or something like that. Everybody keeps pushing them back, Who knows what's going to happen?
Hey, another question. Who played the guitar on this song?
A guy named Frank Vignola. And when I met him, he was Les Paul's guitar player, which is kind of like being Dolly Parton's boob stand-in. Frank is one of the great guitar players in the entire world. Vignola. Frank Vignola. And him and he it's so funny. I went to see Les Paul, and Les right away invited me up. The first time I went, he invited me up on stage, and I met Keith Richards and everything. I must have been on stage with Les 50 or 60 times. So the first couple of times I got up there, and it's that guy Frank Vignola's up there, and Les Paul, and the beautiful blonde bass player Nikki, and Lou Palo, who just passed away last week. Great guy. I get up and tell dick jokes, and Les would go wild. And after maybe the second or third time at Iridium, I was in the dressing room, and I saw Frank, and I walked over to him. And I said, listen, you guys are such high-level musicians. I feel like such a trespasser when I walk up there and start telling these stupid jokes. Does it piss you guys off? And he said, are you kidding? He said, you bring such a burst of energy to the stage. We live for you coming up there. I'm like, wow. And then like a couple weeks later, I walked up to Frank and said, do you smoke pot? And he goes, what do you mean do I smoke pot? And I said, here. And I gave him a manila envelope full of Jokeland pot.
You're incriminating
So
yourself.
Needless to say, every time he saw me after that, he was glad to see me. And then I came up with the crazy idea for the song. And the first thing I did was I recorded on a little thing, and I sent it to Frank and said, Frank, listen, I don't want you to think I'm pushy, but I either just wrote the world's worst song or the world's greatest song, and I want to send you an MP3 of it. He said, well, fine. And he called me back and said, that's the funniest fucking thing I've ever heard. And we wound up recording that song. And by the time we're done recording the song, he said, this is so much fun. Have you got any other songs? I said, yeah, I got hundreds of them from the 70s. And that's when we wound up making my music CD. And me and Frank produced it. And he's so good. He is so good.
But I'm just glad that you told me this story, because I was wondering what that was. I don't know. I just really like the song. I noticed it's a great song, and it just gets people in this. And I don't know the story behind it. I'm glad you put it out there.
He doesn't. He plays just the right amount of notes. The one thing I would like to almost say, the guitar playing. A lot of people think it's me playing the guitar, which is very flattering, but no, it's not me. And it's like, he just knows the notes. He just knows what to play, and he knows what not to play. And he's just so great.
He's a pro musician. This guy, my friend Chris Chapeni, asks, do you know any Baba Booey jokes?
No. When we go on the road, we just used to lick his lips and stick them to the wall.
He didn't care. How about, okay, another question here. Somebody says, hi, Jackie. East Bay Raider says, hi, Jackie. And
what is an East Bay Raider?
I don't know. And he says, you're a legend, Jackie.
Well, with that face, so are you.
I don't know what the hell that is. That's kind of creepy looking. Looks like he's part of It 3. Looks good.
It's not bad.
Yeah.
It's not bad.
Yeah, looks good. Looks really good. All right, let's go back to the dick jokes. Back to the dick. So one night I was having a quiet night beating my bishop upstairs in the bedroom when I noticed there's a bright flash of light from a pair of binoculars across the street, right? And I know there's like a really hot girl that lives across the street. So I thought she was watching me. So I made a little bit over the top exaggeration. I started banging an open juice bottle, and then I took a lube cucumber, stuck it up my ass, and knowing that this hot chick was across the street getting an iPhone, I finally shot my load all over the window in frenzy of excited lust. And just then my wife comes in the door, and quickly I wiped everything down. And she goes, hello, darling. I said, hi. She goes, do you know that new couple that moved across the street? And I go, couple? She goes, yeah, this guy, Brian and Steve. It's a long way to go, but I like it.
Oh.
You never heard it?
No, a million years ago, there was a mail order company from North Carolina named Adam and Eve, and they sold.
Still around.
No, that's the point of the story. They sold very soft core, not like sex toys, but not even. And they heard about my album, and they wanted to buy an album. And I still have the ad. They bought my first album and cassettes of my first album and 8-track cartridges of my first album. 8-track. It was featured in their catalog. A million years later, a guy named Andrew Trentacosta booked my Safe Distance from Genius videotape. No, he booked the Who Farted I Smelted videotape for the Playboy Channel. Now, when the Playboy Channel first hit, they had very little programming.
I remember.
So they took Who Farted I Smelted and put it. It was a 2-hour thing. They made it into 2 1-hour things and ran it. And people used to get so mad at me, because guys would go on the road, salesmen or something, and they'd pay their $3 to have Playboy Channel for the night, thinking they're going to see broads. And then all of a sudden it's me telling jokes. And they're like, what the fuck is this? So years after that, Andrew Trentacosta got a job working for this now a huge conglomerate called Adam and Eve. And they had their own television show on cable. And it was supposed to be girls selling negligees and lingerie, and and the girls parading around in it and modeling it, and I'm supposed to sit next to her and make comments, and then they're paying me a lot of money. They flew me, they flew Nancy. By the time it came time for this thing, they flew us out, and instead of them being selling lingerie, it was me walking around with this woman who had been a Penthouse Pet of the Month, but 20 years ago. And it was like a porn show. And in each corner of the TV studio was another bed with a couple of girls in it.
Really?
And the idea is that they were taking phone calls I don't think there were even emails yet. They're taking phone calls, and the listeners were saying what they wanted the girls to do. So I'm
Live.
walking around with this girl. Nancy is up in the control room watching, and we're there. And they go, oh, I want to see the one girl go down, the other girl, whatever. And the way it worked was the girls would fool around for a certain amount of time, and then they had to take a commercial break. I swear on my mother, the director had a cue card that said, come, C-U-M. I don't know if I've ever sent you that. I've got it scanned in. I could send it to you. And when it was time to go to commercial, he'd hold up the cue card that said, come, and the girls would come, and we'll be right back. And then when it was done, I had all the different porn stars sign the cue card. I still got it downstairs. It's unbelievable. But it's all the same porn people 20 years, 30 years later, what I can't even, I'm not even going to guess at the names, but Marco Polo and, people like that.
I remember the porn was Seika back in the 80s or 70s or something like that.
What were some of the names? You know what? Jesus. Yeah. Oh, and what's funny is I have a copy of that show too somewhere. It was called Ladies Night Out.
Oh God! What?
With the big cum. With the big cum.
I do remember that the Playboy Channel. I do remember them having difficulty with programming. I remember it was like
all Food Network, all of them. There was no programming. Just everybody was caught with their pants down.
Yeah, you start up something new, and there you go. Hey, let me ask you this. I have this other picture here too, real quick, before I get back to jizz jokes. But while you're looking, I can tell a quick jizz joke. I knew a prostitute who had a client that had a beehive with 10,000 bees that jizzed all over her face.
What?
What a setup that is, right? 10,000 bees jizzed all over her face because that's what the guy wanted. And after he left, she just sat there in her room contemplating her life and thought, and she grabbed the mirror and looked at herself and said, this is what I've become.
Oh, geez. Now I'm mad at you.
Now you don't like it. I got here somebody saying, all right, Jimmy Francis.
I just texted you.
The picture?
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, there it is. Well, here we go. The names are on there. Yeah, I want it now. I'm gonna be blowing this up later and wondering, seeing if I can figure out who the names are. I want to see if Seiko was on it. Jimmy Francis has a joke on here. Let's take a look. Stump the Joke Man. Guy walks into a bar and says, give me 12 shots of whiskey. Bartender says, 12 shots of whiskey, buddy. What are you celebrating? The guy says, I just got my first blowjob. Bartender says, congrats. 13 shots on the house. The guy says, and
never mind. If 12 shots don't take the taste away, a 13th isn't going to help.
Hey,
Pop, can I have $20 for a blowjob? I don't know, son. Are you any good?
Who wrote that joke, huh?
I don't know, but it's so rude.
I want it. Holy crap, my man, Jackie Martin with John Peasy. What did I fall into? You fall into the jizz zone. I see people liking those jokes. They like the nasty. They like the nasty jokes. Nasty is funny. We're going for it. We'll go for more.
What'd the Polish girl say at the sperm bank?
Full. What did she say?
I want to make a deposit.
Look, I lost my focus. There we go. I
still don't understand anything. I don't understand that. Nothing.
Oh, how the focus works? Look, they all want to see this thing. Keep going. They want the nasty jokes. They like the nasty jokes. I suggested to my wife that we have sex tonight, so we could try to do that facial porn like this that they use on Pornhub. And she was like furious. And I really thought she'd take it on the chin. I know it's silly, right? It's bad, but it works.
So a guy goes home with a girl, and they're lying in their bed and start getting undressed, and he says, you want to make love like in the movies? She says, okay. So he jizzes all over her face, and she says, I guess we go to different movies.
I like it. I like it. I told you one a couple of weeks ago. Pineapple juice that they say if you if you jizz in pineapple juice, it makes the taste go away. I think that was the joke. I wrote it down. You never heard it. I gotta remember.
So you stopped drinking pineapple juice.
No, it wasn't that shit. I haven't written this before. Let's see what my pineapple juice was. They say pineapple juice makes your cum taste better, but for me, it just ruins the pineapple juice. That's a joke. That's a good joke.
It is a good joke. It's very.
What we're gonna do is it? I have no idea. It's one of those.
Very simple. Very simple.
Hey, look at more of your pictures here, Jackie. This one now here. I know this is Dick Capri.
Dick Capri. I just wrote to him.
Did he respond?
Question, and he wrote back. He said it's too long ago. I don't remember because now nobody knows. Dangerfields is closing. And,
but they're moving to another location. I understand.
Yeah, but I think that never lasts.
Okay.
And Rodney was Jack Roy, and then
Yeah.
he became Rodney Dangerfield. And somebody said it was Carson got interviewed for Playboy, and I think it was Carson's first Playboy interview, and it was so long ago. And Rodney's name came out or something, and somebody said, "Oh," the interviewer said something along the lines of, "What a wild name that is for a comic." And Carson said, "Oh, that was just a name from a Jack Benny show."
Really?
And he's quoted it, and I'm trying to find out from anybody because it works either way. Because what happened was Jack Benny was having a dinner party with Al Jolson and his wife, and whoever from the time, whoever would have been, Milton Berle and his wife, and Jack Benny and Bing Crosby and his wife, whatever. And he says, "Rochester, how are we doing for the party today?"
Rochester.
He goes, "Well, Mr. Benny, George Jessel and his wife canceled." He goes, "Oh, that's not good, Rochester." "And Mr. Benny, Milton Berle and his wife, they canceled too." Oh, that's not good. And Buddy Hackett and his wife, they can't come. And he said, "Rochester, who's left?" And he goes, "Rodney Dangerfield," which is a funny punchline, whether there's a real Rodney Dangerfield or not. If it was a real Rodney Dangerfield and he was a down and out character, and they're saying that's all we got left, it works. But it also works as a crazy name. So I'm trying to find out which came first. And I'm looking for somebody who's been around that long. And I asked Capri, and he's like, "I don't know." He didn't know what he had for breakfast,
Yeah, I know what you mean. I called him twice. I haven't heard back from him. Is he okay? Is he?
Oh, yeah. I'll give you his email. He's such a good guy. Minervini sees those guys all the time.
He lives in Florida.
He's a good character. Always a good character. Always very nice.
I always loved him. I worked him at the Fry's Club a million times, and he was always just he had that great delivery, smooth. I just loved his persona, and it reminds me of Jack Benny. He's that kind of persona.
Droll.
Yeah.
Droll.
Hey, there's a picture here too.
The greatest. Capri said, he said, "I had a date with a girl who was so ugly, my parrot said, 'Polly want a blindfold.'"
I love it. I love it. Look at that.
That is a famous picture. Do you know that picture you just showed?
Yeah, this picture, by the way, she's a beautiful woman on the right there. What was who?
On the right is Jenny McCarthy.
That's who it is. She has her own podcast. I just actually listened to her yesterday. She interviewed somebody that I was interested in.
Well, she's been around forever. I think I probably told you this story already about me and Jenny McCarthy there were hosting a party for Playboy. It was the Playboy Christmas party, and it was a VIP party. And a VIP party for Playboy meant they invited 800 guys and 4 girls. And we're supposed to host it at Webster Hall. And on the way in, I said, "You know what? Let me write a line or two for each of these whatever celebrities that were coming." And they were like, B or C celebrities like Grandpa Al Lewis and Gilbert Gottfried. And one of the guests that was going to be there that night was Patty Davis Reagan, because she had posed naked that year in Playboy. And I knew her because she came on the Stern Show to promote that issue of Playboy. So
Right.
on the way in, I'm writing these jokes about the different people. And downstairs before the show, my friend Eric Middleman is taping, speaking of cable, a show called Hot Rocks.
I remember that.
On the Playboy channel, they used to show music videos that were just a little too graphic. They weren't X-rated, but they were just a little too booby and too vagina-y to be on MTV. So they were on Hot. So what would happen was they'd do a wraparound. They'd talk about Jenny, talk about something, and then they'd cut to a song with the video, and then they talk about, and she would have guests. So that this night we're co-hosting this thing, and I'm her guest, and we're downstairs in the bowels of Webster Hall, and we're drinking and having a hoot, and while one of the video, when we did an introduction, and we stopped, and I said, "Listen, Jenny, I wrote a joke on the way in here that I think is pretty funny," and I told it to her. And she said, "That is so funny." And the cameraman all laughed. It was like 2 or 3 cameras. They all went wild. And they said, "Tell the joke when we come back, and I'll laugh again." And we came back, and I told the joke, and she laughed again. So then we go up and do the show. And we did like 5 minutes. It was a zillion guys. Nobody could hear anything. We didn't care. So we're going into the VIP bar. What I didn't know, what nobody knew, was in the time from Howard Stern having her on the show to promote her Playboy spread, Patty Davis Reagan, the former president's daughter, just to crawl up his ass and fuck with him, posed nude in Playboy. Since that issue had come out, they had made up. Nobody knew. And meanwhile, it had just come out that Ronald Reagan had Alzheimer's.
And you're walking in there loaded.
So I go walking in without knowing this, knowing that Patty and her father are at fucking war in my mind. And we walk into the bar and boom, she's nose to nose with me. I said, "Hey, Patty, I wrote a joke about you on the way in here. You were the first one to know that your father had Alzheimer's because he started returning your phone calls." And she went white. And all of a sudden I realized that I just told her a joke that was funny to everybody on the planet except her. And that picture, she went ballistic. And the cameras and the snaps and everybody's going wild. And I'm talking so fast. Listen, I had no idea. But
yeah, I've been there.
And 2 seconds later, that's when that picture was taken. That picture is her on the far left, looking like she just ate a lemon.
Let me pull it up. There you go.
And this is the next girl over, that was the Playboy Pet of the Year from Russia, who was a 12. And me and Jenny McCarthy, and Patty's trying to smile. She was so pissed off.
Pissy. Wow.
And that was a Thursday night. And I went into work on Friday and nothing happened. I thought, wow, I skated. But meanwhile, that was late Thursday night. I don't read the newspaper when I'm on Long Island. And I guess it hit the post really hard on Saturday. And on Monday, when the microphones went on, first thing Robin said was, "He did it again, Howard." And he said, "What?" And then the whole story came out, a whole big deal. And
you're an ass. You're a big ass.
I'm such a jerk. And after about 5 or 10 minutes of breaking my balls, Gary comes in and says, "Hey, Howard, everybody's calling up, Howard. Everybody wants to hear the joke." And so he goes, "All right, Jackie, what's your stupid?" And I told the joke, and Howard had to bite his lip to not laugh.
Not laugh because it's funny.
And then like an hour later, Patty called in. And of course, I'm trying to make a joke out of it. And everybody's yelling at me. And there was a whole nother thing the next day. 2 days on the show. It was the greatest. It was just great. It was a page 6 and all kinds. And it's just a funny joke. I'm sorry. It's a
funny. Funny's always, they always say.
Him having Alzheimer's isn't funny, but she showed her pussy to make him crazy. And I made a joke, if I'm guilty, she's a little guilty too,
Oh, it's so funny though. You look at that picture, you could see like this kind of bite, this face is kind of like okay.
Yeah. Because she knew if she had a big frown,
Right.
Then why are you friend? You know, and so
And yet you look like, I'm surprised, and the two girls are like happy.
look who I'm standing between. What's not to love? You know, fuck the
Yeah.
world. You know, that was
Yeah. Oh
great.
my God. I just watched an interview yesterday morning with Jenny McCarthy. She has her own show out of L.A. and Sirius, actually, I
I
believe.
love her, but she, you know, with the anti-vaxxing thing,
I don't know anything about that.
she's doing a lot of damage, man. A
You think so?
lot.
Yeah. I don't.
Yeah.
You know me. I don't.
Yeah, it's
I
not
don't
worth
get
getting into
political.
any of it. You know.
Yeah. I don't get political. I just judge it based on the information that's coming down the thing. Hey, by the way, Dick Capri, this is great. I haven't seen him in a long time, and I'm really
Love you, Dick.
we love Dick Capri, and also love Stewie Stone. Stewie has been ill for a little while, and
Oh,
they had a
I did not
fundraiser
know that.
for him. Yeah, I hope he's gonna come out of it pretty well. He's been like doing some rehab kind of stuff. Great guy. We love Stewie.
All
Great.
those characters. All those characters.
Yeah,
Freddie Roman was my sponsor to be a friar.
Was he really?
Yeah, the dean.
You know, I forget who my sponsor was, to tell you the truth. Here I see a picture too with you and Professor Erwin Corey.
Do you know that he smoked pot every day of his life from the time he was 16 on, and he died at like 104?
Yep. Our friend John Galasso had went over and done an interview with him at his apartment with Franco Frasetti.
Right,
and
got stoned with him.
Yeah, they taped the whole thing over there, and apparently I haven't seen the documentary, but they did a little doc on the guy, and you know, somebody used to tell me, I don't know if it's really true or not, because his son was trying to take care of him, that Corey had all his money that he saved and kept it in his house, like hidden in mattresses and places and stuff like that.
You know what? What's really funny is that's not uncommon. Supposedly, Les Paul had so much of his money in his house. Anybody that came through the Depression did not trust banks. You know, it sounds crazy, but you know,
I get it.
You know,
I totally do. I totally get it. That's why I keep all my money in Bitcoin.
That's where it's safe.
Yeah, where it's totally safe. I have some more comments over here too. Let's see. Today is just he's giving us the answer to the joke. Okay. Hey, joke man, if you run out of toilet paper and have to use lettuce, how long can it last?
No, wait, hold on. Give me a second. How long can it last? I really have no idea.
We're gonna have to send Will a gift. You're gonna get a T-shirt.
We can send him something, but it's gonna be. We'll send him something, but I know it's gonna be horrible.
It's gonna be horrible. All right, Will, write the answer to your joke. If you run out of toilet paper and use lettuce, how long? That is just the tip of the iceberg. Isn't that like the tip of the iceberg joke? Is that what he means? Wait a minute. Let's see. This guy wants us to be on his show. Daniel Romano. We love to have you both.
I'd have to be mad at my dick. I'd have to be mad at my dick to do that show. No, I have no idea who he is. What's
today is just the tip of the iceberg. Tomorrow remains to be seen. All right.
The answer. Send me your shirt, Will.
See, he actually should let him keep his shirt.
That's the worst thing I ever heard.
Here we go. Edwin Corey was hysterical. Yes, he was. He was a really bizarro character.
Erwin Corey.
Yeah, he was bizarro though. He was a strange character. I mean, I remember meeting him at the Friars Club. You never got the impression whether or not he was being serious. He was in character. He was senile. It was like he was always. I went to the Friars one night.
We're on a show. Literally brilliant. He literally was brilliant.
Well, he was upstairs on the fireplace upstairs, the Friars Club. He was sitting there on the fireplace taking a nap. Napping on the marble, and we had to go wake him up to come down and do his act. I mean, I remember thinking, like, this is such a strange guy, Very
great character. Great. I was supposed to go with Mike Fine a bunch of times. I was supposed to go to his house, and we were going to go to the delicatessen and then come home and smoke pot, and I never did it. And I'm still mad at myself. And he made it to I think 104.
Unbelievable. I wish that for all of us in comedy. Speaking of this pot, I went to the dentist, doctor, get my eyes checked, and they gave me a marijuana brownie. You know that? I tried it. I tried it today, and I couldn't keep it lit.
Oh.
So we got to get going. So
you wouldn't believe who I bumped into on the way back from my eye surgery. Everybody.
Let's do two more. Let's do a couple more and get out because it's 59 minutes. We're already done. I'm sorry to say. I got to tell you, I'm just so happy that we do these shows just for the reason that everything here stays in the cloud forever. And all these stories and stuff people would never know are here forever. And that's really important. If you and I check out tomorrow, it's nice to know that stuff stays in the air. And I like it.
So a lady's got a box with her, and Dirty Johnny's there.
Okay.
And it's Dirty Johnny's turn to go in the confessional. He comes in and he says, yes, my son. He says, Father, I think I got a problem. I jerk off a lot. I jerk off in the morning, and then I jerk off at lunch, and I jerk off in the afternoon and at night before I go. I just jerk off. I jerk off. I can't stop jerking off. I love to jerk off. It's so great, Father. I just jerk off and jerk off. He says, you know, son, I think you have a problem. You should say a Hail Mary and an Our Father and go out there and sit in the pew and wait for me. I want to talk to you.
Okay.
Johnny goes out, and the lady puts down the box and comes in and she says, Father, I used the Lord's name in vain when I yelled at my children, and I feel very terrible. He says, well, say a Hail Mary. It's not so terrible. She says, okay, Father. And Father, I brought you some homemade cookies, and I know you're going to love me. He said, that sounds excellent. So the priest and woman go out, and Dirty Johnny's sitting there, and next to him on the chair is the box, and it's open, and it's empty. And she says, Father, the cookies I baked for you were in there. And he looks at Johnny and says, Johnny, what happened to the cookies? He says, I ate them. You ate them? Why'd you eat them? I had nothing to do. The priest says, why didn't you jerk off?
There you go. A good jizz joke. Hey, I gotta end on this. Let me end on this jizz joke. I don't know if it's good or bad. You tell me. Ready? I was thinking about this last night. I'm laughing in my head about this joke, and then I mentioned it to my wife. She's like, ugh. I had a date with a Chinese girl, and she says to me, oh, I can't get enough jizz. I said, oh, I don't need any prompting. I whip out my dick. I spray my hot man juice all over her face, and she gets up and runs away. Then I realized apparently she meant music. She likes Louis Armstrong and Miles Davis.
Oh, Jesus.
Say good or bad? Come on, give me 1 to 10 on that. What do you think?
Not bad. Not bad.
It's okay. All right. You want to do one more?
How is jizz like jazz?
Why is jizz like jazz?
It's not to everyone's taste.
Jackie, it's too much fun. Where do we find you? We all know.
I've been doing 1 million cameo.coms, and they're rolling in. I'm making some money, and everybody's enjoying them. Cameo.com/Jackie Martling, one word. And if you go there, there's a bunch of ones I did already, and every one of them has 3, 4, 5, 6 jokes. So you can just go to that website and steal 50 jokes and not spend a penny. Cameo.com. But it's if you buy one from me, I'll call you. You know, I'll make a video for your brother, your sister. Do one for Charlie. He loves Jewish jokes. Do for my Aunt Mary. She likes poop. As clean as they want them, as dirty as they want them. And I got if you read the reviews, I got 75 5-star reviews because this is made for me. And my documentary is done. That's exciting. And I got a place for us to do shows. I think we got our own streaming cable channel on Long Island. But
that's going to be so cool. If they want to find your schedule or what you're up to, it's at jokeland.com.
And me and you are both going to be starring in a porn film with Harvey Leeds. Or are we supposed to keep that a secret? No, we could tell everybody it's all out of the closet, just like a midget out of a cabinet. We're doing it. Harvey One Ball Leeds. That's right. If you're having a good time, guys, tell us in the comments. Let us know. Like, subscribe. You know all the deal. If you want to find me, you can find me at johnpeasy.com and Jackie at cameo.com/Jackie Martling. We appreciate you coming. We'll see you next week. Yes. Thanks, Johnny. Stay well, bro.